Hello everyone, Cappuccino here. So today video is gonna be about the Unity Cup, or I would love to call it Aoharu High, which is gonna be coming in next month, probably after Leo's, a little bit after Leo. Damn, it's so unusual to say the names of a Unity Cup. Holy, we're just gonna call it Aoharu, if you don't mind me. Okay, so to get you started on the new scenarios, I would like to convey a short videos on just a little bit of overviews of how the scenarios works and what you can do in your first run. This is not a walkthrough guide I did 4 years ago, but if you want a walkthrough guide I did 4 years ago, feel free to check it out. I will leave the link down in the video on the description. But before we getting in the topic of this video, I will have some messages to tell you. Do you want to buy more carrots to be prepared for the new content? I've got something awesome to share with you. LootBar is the most affordable and safest carrot trading platform I've been using lately. Here's the deal. LootBar offers prices 11% cheaper than the official store, and new users get an extra 10% for a total of 21% discount. For example, this carrot amount cost me $69.99 official, but only $54.70 on LootBar with immediate delivery of your carrot. LootBar is trusted by thousands of users and has a 4.9 rating on Trustpilot, backed up by a lot of good reviews. Furthermore, they also provide 7-day refund guarantee. Sign up through my link in the description to start saving today. Okay, so let's get back to the topic. The topic we'll be introducing to you today is first, this Aoharu, the introduction of it, the mechanics of it, which is like a lot of the past videos of how the mechanics works, what is the difference between the normal UIA scenarios and this Unity Cup scenarios is gonna be coming, and then the strategy of playing, like basically the game plan of how you want to play the early game, the mid game, or the late game, and then the support card that is like really good, that I see a lot, was used back in the day in JP. Yeah, let's get right into it. So first off, here the thing that changes when Aoharu hits the JP server. So the standard UMAS that you go, like usually like when you do a standard one, you get like a high A, right? Around like 12k if it's a good run. Right? And you get to probably A plus pretty consistently after the Aoharu like hits, it's gonna be A plus, and then the high roll, like the maximum that whales can go to like S2 and S plus, which is a pretty banger stat line to go for. You're probably gonna have fun with the game if you can like get an S plus. In training become more relevant. Okay, so we really don't use in that much, right? Especially in the medium and long distances. We only have like 400 to 600 in for now, but in Aoharu this thing is gonna change a little bit. In training is gonna be a little bit more relevant, and in card get like more use overall. Stamina stuff become more accessible, yeah, because Regos give a lot of stamina, a lot of guts, and then Rise Showers also give a lot of stamina while training your power. So Rego Rise Inference matters a lot in Aoharu. And then yeah, Aoharu use a lot of energy, so card like Regos that reduce energy usage when you're training is very valuable. For the other guard we see uses too, but there's not as much as like dominating as like Rico does. Less optional races. Yeah, the Aoharu training takes a lot of training, so you're gonna be training. You don't really do optional races that much, so it's not really good for parent farming. You're probably gonna be still doing in UIAs due to the compatibility problems that Aoharu High has. And also like Aoharu like genes give you power and int. Yeah, so some people values like stamina and speed that UIA scenarios provide to you more, because we don't really want to train like stamina in some cases, and you know we use a lot of stamina like genes, so that's gonna be the thing that you have to keep in mind, like the thing that changed. Yeah, I know we keep phased out a little bit, you will know the reason why this is the case later. First off, the basic mechanics. So your support guard that you bring in will become your teammate, you know, and like as you can see, an extra to the bond, they have like this gauge and this signs when they're training. So this is a sign of our training, so it's increase your teammates stats, not your stat. It's also increase your stat when you're training if you are training our high with like 2 or more people. Yeah, but just know that this sign is very good. Try to train on it. It can also increase your team rank when your teammate stat goes up. After 4 hours training, right, the fire gauge will start slowly fill to the top, right? And after it fills, they have a chance to explode. I don't know why they call it explosion, but I kind of like the idea of that. The explosion, when it happens, it gives you a status and then give you a hint. So which we're gonna be talking about later. But there is a case that like when the things are filled, and they are ready to explode, but they're not gonna explode. Training as well, just shown in like this smart focus right here. So it's just called like Aoharu explosion training, the explosion itself. So you gain bonus stat on that training, as you can see, like the top numbers here. Right, this thing go past the training cap of 100 per training, by the way, because it's a bonus stat gain. So if you're really lucky, you can get like a 4 stack rainbows and it go past 100, which is funny to look at if you're into that. And it also increase your teammate stat by a lot. You also get a random hit. The hit you gain is based on your aptitude, your Uma's aptitude, not the support, not the teammate. So for example, I have mild, medium, long, leaders, and laser surgery. So these are all the skill that I can get. Maybe I can get a mild skill, I can get a medium skill, I can get a long skill. Like it's all random from all the aptitude when you explode the thing. Again, like support guard can only be exploded once. So after exploded, they're gonna cap this side. They can explode again, but they can still do our training like normal. So the numbers, right? Each explosion worth like 15 stats. If it's a scenario ink card, the explosion gives 20 stats. When two or more like our training happens, you gain like a 2 to 3 bonus stats, like this one, right? This one is +3. You gain like a 2 or 3. A scenario ink card also give you more stat when you train with them in a lot of our training. Yeah, and for int, explosion are worth only 10, but the recovery also goes up. This is why int is very good in the deck, because when you explode on int, you not only get the strat, you basically get the recovery, so you can tap the next outer high training for the next explosion that's coming. So you basically get more efficient as you train int. Aside from your support guard, like the game will give you a new teammate on early game, which is gonna be these four like scenario link characters. But if you have them in a deck, for example, you've used like Power Rise, she will not appear here because she is already in your team. It is a good thing, by the way. Like it's not a bad thing to have less teammate. Like your teammate will be more condensed, and you are likely to explode if you get the deal. Like because later on, you will have like 15 teammates, 20 teammates competing for the spot in your training, because you can have up to like six support guard and teammates in one training. So if you have a lot of teammates, they're gonna compete for that spot later on, which is not a good thing. You have less chance of building a good Umas, you have less chance of exploding more Umas because they are competing for the same spot. Again, but you can't just use all of them, right? Basically, you have a rise, it's gonna become 3. Usually you have like 1 scenario link card, and like Infukukitori is good, Power Rise is good. These two are the most popular one to take, and then you reduce the game that give you the party for 3 members. As only 3 members are given to the party if that's the case. Next up, we have the team rank. Like as I said earlier, when you train our training or explosion, your team stat increase, and then after that your team rank will increase based on the overall status of your team. But here's the deal: in UAs, your training levels goes up by when you keep like spamming that training for 4 times. Like for 4 times, it gives you +1 level. In Aoharu High, that's not gonna happen. This is why int is much better, because you can level up your training not only for int but for other status by just exploding on the int. Get the energy, get the stat, and then when the stat leveled up, get more training level, get more stats, as you can see here. And when your team reaching S9, the game will give you its on for free. This is why I know the key is gonna phase out a little bit in Aoharu, because this skill is free for everyone. Because like if you train well enough, like if you finish your run, basically you're probably gonna get this. What's the point of Yainomureki if you're gonna already have this in the deck? And maybe you want to get some more hint, but usually like this is already enough for a Yaino slot. So you can slot more other cards. Like maybe you want to slot Power Rise is better, Rico's is better for your like flex slot. So that's why like Yainomureki is kind of phase out of the meta a little bit. The next up is gonna be our exclusive skill. For this one, on November 3rd year, by the way, like this like end game stuff, you will receive a skill based on your team stat rank and number of explosion. 4 to 9 explosions total of all the teammates, by the way. You're gonna get a white version of the skill based on the team rank that you're in. For example, in these images, I have S on speed, I have S on power. If I have 4 to 9 explosion totals, I'm gonna get a either the speed skill or the power skill. But what we're aiming for is we're aiming for the 13 explosions total, because in 13 plus explosion total, we're going to get a gold version of the same skill with a Hindler tree. But if you can, you go for a 10 plus explosion, because that's gonna give you a gold skill level 1 hit. But this skill is very expensive to buy on a gold version. That's why you want to aim for 13 explosion total to get a gold skill with like 3 hit, and you're more likely to get a good stat horse if you explode more. Usually a good horse is like have 15 explosions or 17 explosions. It's around that kind of that's gonna be really good, like S rank Umers or a good A plus Umers kind of rank around 15 to 17 explosion. Okay, for your information, the same rank, for example this speed and power, they're gonna get, it's randomly selected for you Umers. So if you have multiples of the same rank, it has a chance to be another skill. So the first skill itself, I have to talk a little bit, like most of the time it's gonna be speed, and because you're training speed, your Umers will most likely gonna have a lot of speed. So most of the time, and the speed skill is good because it's a middle leg speed skill straight up. The stamina is also pretty okay, but it's really hard to get because you're not gonna train that much stamina realistically. The power one is basically another gambling skill for late stager, but you can use it on anyone now. Guts one is good, but you're not gonna train guts. The in one is good in specific cases. I'm not really recommending it unless you know what you're doing. We might talk about the positioning skill later on, but I'm trying so hard to make a video on that. Yeah, but most of the time you're gonna get the speed one. It's like the easiest to use. Okay, next up is the team name. In early game, you'll be able to select the team name for your team. It's a team race after all. And then if you bring a scenarios card, you're gonna get more choices. For example, I bring a Infokukitari in this one, so I can choose her as a team name. Like she has her own team name, so I don't know how the team is gonna translate it to English. But if you bring like Power Rise, you get her as well. And then like Taiki, Urara, right? You be able to choose the team name, and when you end the scenario, you win the last races, and you win the last races, you get free gold skill. For like Light Shower have a cooldown. So when you bring Power Rise, you get both Maestro and you get a cooldown. Cooldown is an okay skill. It's not that bad. People are like trashing down on it, but I think it's kind of okay. And then No Stopping Me is gonna be good later. I don't know how later it will be, but this skill will probably gonna be good later. Our races at the end of year 1 and every 6 months, we will have our races. This one is gonna be this screen is on your team on each distances, because it's a team race. It's like team trials, but it's in scenarios instead. And then they will get arranged based on their aptitude, and then they got arranged because it's an auto setting, so you don't have to worry about it too much. If you train well, they're gonna win anyway. But there are some cases that your death slot is full, and then they put your Urara in short distances for some unknown reason. You might want to switch that, especially if your train doesn't go really well. You might have to like manually setting your teams up yourself. And then your base one should be on ace position, the top one, because they will always be on the base mode. But yeah, winning this race is important because it gives you stat, it gives your team stat. Training level is gonna go up with it too. Try to win every one of them. Okay, so the overall game plan is very easy. It's the same as your ace, but you prioritize more on Aoharu training, add extra to the bond. So you don't have to only think about the bond. You also have to think about the Aoharu training, the gauge, right? The explosion. Do I save the explosion for the next turn? Or if your thing explode on guts, is that gonna be a good thing? Right? You probably want to save it for the next turn for the speed explosion. Yeah, that's all you have to think about. So this is like the overall game plan. For the third year, you probably want to like start fine-tuning your stat, because you probably want to train for Champions Meeting, and then you want a specific stat line, and yeah, win every team race. For the deck, it's become very easy. You want 1 or 2 in, you want 1 Rigo in your deck, you want 2 speed card, mainly Kitasang Black and someone, and then you have 1 flex card for anything. Can be another in if you're running shorter distance, can be a creek, can be a super creek if you're running a longer distance. Can be Power Rise also if you're running a longer distance. But yeah, if you don't have Rise, you can use Creek. That's why I think people shouldn't be thinking too much about rolling Rico Rise. If you have a good card, a good stamina gallery, and you can survive long distance just fine, you probably don't need a Rise. You just need to use Creek, and then you use Ricos. Unless it's a long distance, you probably need to use both. It's gonna be a little bit troublesome to you, but you'll be fine if you don't get price, you're gonna be permanently like boring Rico. Just keep that in mind. For the summary, yeah, as you can see in this image, like there's nothing much for me to say more than this right now. So yeah, that's about it for this video. If you have any question about the new scenarios, what's your plans on polling, or just anything you want to talk to me in general, feel free to drop it down in the comment section. And I'll give a shout out to LootBar because they reached out to me, and yeah, I believe they got a good deal. So check them out with the link in the description. I will see you in the next video. Thank you.